Hello, hello, and welcome back to another episode of the 2020 podcast, bringing clarity to optometry business and entrepreneurship, Canada's #1 optometry podcast. I am super excited, guys, to bring you this episode. I just got back. The date today is April 4th, 2022. And I just got back late last night from Vision Expo East in New York. As you may be able to tell from my voice, I've been doing a lot of talking and maybe having a little bit of fun over the past week, but connecting with so many incredible people in our profession, in our industry. I'm just super energized from everything that I've just gone through in the past week, meeting so many people, so many amazing people, and seeing so many great things happening in our industry. And so this episode that I'm bringing you guys today is an exciting episode, a little compilation of a few interviews that I did while I was there on the conference floor, the Expo floor over the week last week. I got to chat with 4 amazing doctors in our industry, all doing different things, bringing style, bringing innovation, bringing business leadership, all these different things. And the 4 amazing doctors I got to talk to were Dr. Alan Glazier, Dr. Jenn Weidman, Dr. Lazar, and Dr. Justin Manning. And so what you're going to hear now is a compilation of roughly 10 to 15 minutes each of a conversation with each of these 4 people, all talking about different things. So I think you're going to get to take away so much different value here, whether it's talking about how you can connect with your staff, how you can help build your business, how you can build your social media, how you can build a community within the industry, all these different things that you can do. So I hope you get lots and lots of value out of this. We're going to start with Dr. Alan Glazier's episode or interview. And unfortunately, if you're watching on YouTube, which I hope you do, because there's a lot of fun stuff happening in the background. But if you happen to be watching, the video for some reason cuts out a little bit more than halfway through. So it's just going to be sort of a static image there, but you'll still be able to hear all the audio. The full video for all the other interviews is all there. And like I said, there's lots of fun stuff happening in the background. Again, I hope you get tons and tons of insight out of this, value out of this. And shoot me a message, shoot all of us messages, take screenshots, post them on Instagram. Let me know what you think, for what you take away from each of these interviews. And I know each of these guests will love to connect with you as well. So once again, here it is, the first episode, the first interview with Dr. Alan Glazier, and then the rest of them will to follow. All right, I am here at Vision Expo, of course, with the one and only Dr. Alan Glazier. Alan, I've been trying to get a hold of you for a while, my man. Trying to get you on the podcast. I'm glad I ran into you here so we could record this.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, you know how to find me if you want to, right?
Well, that's the truth. That's the truth. I mean, if anybody, any OD in North America doesn't know Dr. Glazier, I'd be quite surprised because he is very easy to find. The founder of ODs on Facebook and Florida Media. I'd love to hear about ODs on Facebook, this massive community that you've started. How did it start? Like, tell us a little bit, if there is somebody who doesn't know what it is, tell us a little bit about what it actually is.
Sure. So ODs on Facebook was meant to be an optometry-driven eye care industry discussion.
Okay.
And it was the first social media community to include the people who we work with every day in our offices, the opticians, the ophthalmic techs, the office managers, and the industry people who support our companies. Before that, communities had only been really OD to OD. And I always enjoyed participating in those communities. I love networking. I love connecting people. And as a member in the communities, they were the old style forum type communities.
Right.
And in the early 2000s, mid 2000s. And one of the things that I didn't like is when there was a problem introduced there, like they were angry at an insurance company or whatever, and they would talk about it and go around and around in circles and nothing would get done. And one of the things I thought that might help get it done if the people that we work with directly every day knew more about what was on our minds. For instance, in my practice, I have 4 ODs, and I have the typical, several techs, office managers, and eye care professionals. We deal with reps and everything.
Yeah.
But the docs who you would communicate with in these groups, you walk by in the hall, you wave at them, maybe you have lunch with them. But the people I'm engaging with at the office, the people who need to know what's on my mind, are my office manager. They're my techs. They're the people who, if they knew what I was thinking, they may be able to think out of the box and come up with creative solutions and ways to make the business run better. So I thought if they had an ear to the ground in the discussion, that it would be a better place where we could make some industry change, basically influence the entire industry as ODs. And another thought I had was that I didn't think that they were going to really talk that much in there. They'd be more listening because they're a little intimidated.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it turned out.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of discussions that happened. How long ago was it that you started this?
This was our 10th anniversary. September 9th was our 10-year anniversary.
Wow,
yeah.
congratulations, man. 10 years.
Unbelievable.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And how many people in the community now?
So we have, the total number of people is approaching 45,000. We have 30,000 of them are USODs. So we have, depending on what you say the number of USODs is, it's somewhere between 35 and 45,000.
Yeah.
We have, 75%, 80% of all the ODs in the country are in there. But even more impressive to me, and the thing that I'm more proud of, is the level of engagement. So out of that number, 78% of them, according to Facebook, are active or engaged.
That's a huge number.
As you know, in Facebook, you join a group, you join it, and you may never go there again.
Yeah.
The fact that people are in there, and a poll that we did in the group of doctors that were active said that on average they're in there 15 minutes a day, on and off.
Really?
In between patients. And for me, that's the most important thing, because what good is a group with just the numbers, right?
Absolutely. It's all about the engagement and the activity. It's crazy that you have such a high percentage of the group members are actually that active in the group. That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm proud of that.
Did you ever expect it to grow into this, what it is now?
No. So when I was observing those other groups I was in and what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it, and I'm not going to say it's better or worse, it's just how I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
I noticed that like I said, it didn't matter the number of people. If I could get 40 of my thought leader, friends and colleagues, people I respected, really smart people in a group discussion to talk about stuff, it would be, worthwhile.
Yeah.
And maybe we'd have more than 40, I don't know. But I started with 40. I literally went into clinic that day after I set up the group and I put down the guidelines. And when I came out, we had 120 members because of the invite feature, which I wasn't that sophisticated at Facebook by any means. And then from there, it just took off because a lot of people felt the same way. A lot of people wanted a place that was moderated, that didn't allow political discussions, that didn't allow hurtful, hateful comments or bullying. And for me, I was very serious about making it as professional as it could be. And that's what it is. And I've been called a lot of names. I've had people get very angry at me after warning them more than once to not behave a certain way, and then I kick them out, and then they blame me. But you know what? It's a peaceful, happy place where people go, and the reason the engagement is so high is because people aren't afraid of getting bullied there. They know I'm going to handle it, and that's part of the reason why the engagement.
Well, that's you've already kind of answered the next thing I was thinking about, because when you have such a huge group, there's going to be some crazies in there, and there's going to be some people who kind of have malintent or whatever, however you want to phrase it. So how do you monitor all of that, with such a large number of people?
So for the first 5 or so years, it was all me. I was a lot of work. I was on it. Facebook has improved the tools that they give admins to monitor it. Keyword, they'll send a notifying me in a text if a certain keyword is typed in there.
No way. Okay.
Because that's either somebody describing something innocently or okay.
Yeah.
Can I say that word?
Say whatever you want, bro. If I have to, I'll bleep it out. But otherwise, just say speak your mind.
That was a joke. I don't need to say it. But and then so they've had tools that have added. But I now have a staff of 3 full-time people that watch it 24/7 also, so that we can keep it real. And I've had I got crazy stories. First of all, I have a screenshot of everything every untoward comment in there that I save in a file, all labeled. So if I have to pull them up for some reason,
oh my gosh.
And I would never do that, to harm anybody or hurt anybody. But I feel it's important because people always say, "Oh, what did I do?" Well, here's what you did.
Well, here you go. Yeah.
And then, I've had everything from some crazy stuff. I've had my life threatened twice over an optometry social media community.
Oh, wow.
Just a couple weeks ago, in another community, somebody threatened violence against me.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they'll be hearing from somebody on that. But anyhow, so I've dealt with a lot of crazy. That was a line for me. I have thick skin. I don't care what people say about me. And once somebody's out of the community, I can care less what they say about me.
Right.
But that was a line that you don't cross.
Yeah, that's nuts that people go that far, man. This is what I mean. Is there's some crazies out there, people who just can't handle their emotions, or what do you call them? Keyboard warriors, right? People who hide behind their screen.
Exactly.
There's crazy people out there like that. So when you have a community that big, it's amazing that you've done such a good job of moderating it.
Thanks. It's important. Otherwise, it wouldn't be what it was.
Yeah. So then tell me this. Obviously, Odie's on Facebook. By the time this goes out, it's going to be, a couple of weeks from now probably. But tonight's the big party, right? So tell me about how that you started from this group to throwing the big bash at every Vision Expo.
That's a great story. I'm glad you brought that up. So that was not rehearsed, by the way. Yes, that's a question I really want to answer. So in 2012, when we were 2,000 members, Expo, they were in there. They found out about it, whatever, and they approached me for Expo West to have a cocktail party, and my concept was to bring online friends together in the real world sphere and press flesh with people who you met online. And people were really psyched about that, because these were people they felt they were friends with, but they had never met. Yeah. So the first ODs on Facebook Vision Expo West party was at a little wine bar in the Palazzo, where we had 50 people.
All right.
And from there, we had one at each event, and it grew and grew and grew into a bigger and bigger event. Now we just broke off from some partnerships into our own, we were working with some of the other Expo partners to throw the ODs on Facebook East party. This is our first just ODs on Facebook East party. And we got a swanky club with a DJ. I wanted to kind of modernize it and make it cool. But because this is going out after the party, I'll see you all at Expo West party.
Expo West, perfect.
Where we have a very cool venue. Last year, during COVID, we had like 700 people there. So that was cool.
Amazing.
This year, it's going to be even bigger.
That's crazy, 700 during COVID.
Overlooking the strip, it was beautiful.
Oh, wow.
So come to the West party.
I'll be there. Yeah, definitely. If you haven't checked out ODs on Facebook, on Facebook, go check that out. But if you haven't checked out the party, anytime you're at Vision Expo East or West, make sure you're there. Just hit Alan up. He'll make sure you get invited. Although do you really need an invite?
You don't need an invite. You just come.
Just say you know Alan Glazier.
You just have to be an attendee of the Expo. That's all.
Got it. Cool. All right. So ODs on Facebook then now has evolved, let's say, to the Fluorescein Media.
Yep.
So tell me what that's about.
So ODs on Facebook is just one of the social media channels and tools that we use to communicate with the industry and have the industry communicate with our people. We have e-newsletters, we have events, we have education, we have all of these things, and they fall under this umbrella, which I realize people just thought about ODs on Facebook. Facebook isn't my brand.
Right.
So I really can't use that too much. So we wanted to put the umbrella under something, and my friend Andy Morgenstern, I don't know if you Andy, he's a podium speaker, really brilliant guy, funny guy too, came up with the name Fluorescein. What's the most common eye drop ODs use every day across the country, all of us? Right. It's Fluorescein, but the scene is like a scene, S-C-E-N-E.
Yeah,
I
like you're
loved
making
it.
a scene, yeah.
So the colors are great, and it's, Fluorescein Media became the umbrella under which all these things fall. It's kind of a content channel where when we have a sponsor or somebody wants to get a link out, we throw it in the funnel and it goes out to all of our stuff under that Fluorescein Media umbrella.
Gotcha.
And so we're growing it into it is a media company. We want to grow it into the big digital media company in eye care, with the component of really being in control of the conversation. Yeah. That's the value we bring, whereas some media companies have great print, some have great e-newsletters. We have the great conversation. Yeah. That's kind of how I see it growing.
It's fantastic that you've continued to put effort into growing it, not because I think it would have been easy to stop at just the Facebook group and be like, well, look what I've made, 45,000 people on a Facebook, but you've continued to grow that to the newsletter and all these other things and expand that. That's really awesome, man.
Thanks, man.
Alan, tell the audience, where can they find you? Where should they go to connect or learn more about what you're doing?
Yeah, definitely. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn. That'd be great. And then you can always reach out to me. My email is draglazier, Glazier @gmail. I always love to. One of the things I'm really big on is mentoring. If there's any young ODs or students that want to reach out, I'm always available for that.
That's amazing.
And just at all the shows, always find me out. I'll always be the guy with a whiskey in my hand and ready to hang out and party. That's awesome. And I'll probably be hanging out around Javier because I like you. And,
I appreciate that, man. That's nice of you. That's nice of you. Well,
in your shadow, literally in your shadow.
We'll stand next to each other.
Do you know how tall this guy is? Seriously? How tall are you?
I can't tell you what I've heard. The most I've heard since I got here is like, whoa, you're taller than I thought. I'm close to 6'4".
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and I put the shoes on. It's probably close to 6'5". Okay. So yeah, I tend to surprise people with that a little bit. So any last words, any last bits of, I know the mentoring bit, that's awesome, man. I love that. That's something that's important to me as well. The only way we're going to help our industry continue to grow is by grooming and mentoring the young people who are coming into it, so they can, basically we're standing on the shoulders of the people who came before us and get these people to stand on our shoulders after that. But tell me anything else you want to share before we wrap up.
There's a lot of great smart ODs doing a lot of great stuff in social media groups, adding a lot of value to the industry, and I love it all, and I want to see everybody be successful. So when you're a member of ODs on Facebook, you'll get value out of there. We encourage you to get value out of any other community that you join, and I don't know what else to say other than as long as I'm driving value to the industry, I'm happy, I'm having fun, and I'm enjoying what I'm doing. So,
Beauty.
And now you're doing that too, and that's great. And I wish you a ton of success with this podcast. If I can add value to what you're doing in any way, let me know.
Well, by being here, man, you've added value. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And thank you for, by kind of paving this way of showing people that there's a lot of value we can bring. I think social media not that long ago was kind of brushed off as like, oh, it's just a thing that kids do. But like we see with what you're doing and what I'm trying to do with the podcast is that we can bring value to our profession and grow it, right?
Yep.
So thank you for doing that, Alan. And thanks for joining us on the podcast, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, this was fun. Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks, man.
All right. That was great.
Thanks for that. All right, so we're back at Vision Expo East, and I am here with the absolutely lovely Dr. Jenn Weidman, from Northern California, owner of her practice, and of course we all know her from Instagram with her wonderful Instagram page and her reels, which are so entertaining. But there's so much more to Jenn, obviously.
Yes,
so Jenn,
yes.
Welcome. Thank you for doing this. Thanks for taking time.
I'm so excited to be here. Yeah.
It's been really nice to kind of get to know you over the last few days.
Yeah, we've had some fun events that we've been a party to, so it's been great. I've been able to see everybody in real life, which is
feels
well
different.
Needed after 2 years. So
the energy is like, I feel like really amazing. I think it's partly when you get everyone together, the energy's good anyway.
Yeah.
But because it's been so long, everybody's got like this pent up energy.
Yeah, everyone's like ready to go.
Let's just have a good time. So tell us a little bit about the Jenn Weidman maybe that we don't know.
Let's see. So I've been practicing for a while. So I've been practicing for actually probably around 13 years.
Okay.
Have a practice in Northern California, like you said. Private practice. It's a great little area, family eye care, and this year, probably over the last couple of years, I'm really just trying to grow and expand in private practice and bring on new things, and it's been really exciting, and especially meeting people like you and everyone here. It's just been a blast. It's just really motivating, for like our profession and this industry, and to see people doing great things.
Yeah.
So outside of work, I have 2 girls. So I mean, active with carpooling everywhere and activities. Mom life. So and of course I do a lot of things online now, and it's been great for me to kind of. There's that creative side, which is kind of fun and to venture into and exercise different brain muscles. And
Absolutely. I think I love to dig into that part because I think a lot of people will see, like, obviously I'm quite active on social media as well. They'll see what I'm doing or yourself, and they'll just think that we're like just social media people, but it's actually like a creative outlet. Yeah. Right? To express your creativity. And for me, like I like editing and creating video and stuff. And you're like just an entertaining, like I told you earlier, I think you're a great actress. I feel like you do great in movies and on TV. You're just a great actor.
I really like making people laugh. I'm not very funny always, but that like fills me up. So, but I love this like marriage of, especially over the last few years with social media and presence online, of like kind of bringing what we do to everybody else. And in my practice, I'm big on patient education and awareness, and like I just want to propel this profession and like get everyone to know everything about it. And so
I think that's sort of the common denominator with, I'd say, most of us who do these social media things is like, yes, it's we're getting out there on social media. Yes, it's a creative outlet, but it's the education piece. It's so important.
So it's like marrying all these things, and 2 things I enjoy creating, and photography and learning about all that stuff. So
Tell me about this creative outlet. How does it help you personally, professionally? Do you feel like it makes you better in other areas of your life too?
I mean, it started as something as like, okay, I'm just gonna try this and kind of tinker around, and then like, I'll find like a cool app and be able to like edit a video differently or design like stuff. I've always like designed my own stuff in the office for like patient materials, and so I've just kind of also transferred that to online and stuff like that. So
can I buy your patient materials from you in my office? Because I don't like doing that so much, and I need a lot of new materials.
It's harder now for me. I'm like, I've got so many different things going, but it started off as that, and then just fill the time, and then it just started looking differently, and I think too what's really neat about it is just connecting with people like within the industry, and in different ways, and not just within this industry, but also just on a broad scale within healthcare.
Yeah.
Like, it's just fun. It's been fun, you know?
Well, when you get to like your social presence, online presence is growing, and of course when you start to reach so many more people, I imagine you're connecting with like on a whole different level.
Yeah, I mean, you probably have like a laundry list of like amazing people that you've sat down with, because you're doing incredible things.
Well, thank you. That is one of the special things about doing the podcast, is you get to meet lots of different people and learn from them. But I feel like, this social media kind of gives you that outlet as well, and that connection.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about that, balancing everything. You're a mom, you're a business owner, and of course you do the social media thing. How do you balance that? Is there certain tricks, there are things like, how does it all come together for you?
I've kind of given up the notion of balancing. I read this, I don't even know, I can't even give credit to them. I read this really amazing article by this woman, and she just was like, it's okay, you're not going to have this perfect ideal balance, and trying to obtain that is like sometimes will drive you crazy, because you're like, it's sometimes unattainable, and just recognizing there's different seasons where things are going to be a little heavier on this side, and the pendulum is going to swing and be a little heavier here, and just accepting that and kind of going with the flow. And I mean, of course, not having it chaotic, but just an acceptance of like, okay, work is really busy right now, or I've got a lot of things going on with my kids right now, and kind of the stage that we're in. And so just, not being so hard on myself if it's not a perfect balance and equilibrium. So
right. I think that that balance is actually like an illusion, or like it's not a real thing. It's just maybe something that we strive for, but it's
a good goal, not to like discredit it, but I think sometimes it's like so unobtainable at different stages of life. And for me, I'd be like, oh my gosh, why can't I like, stay on top of all this stuff? And it's like, well, it's okay, like one thing at a time, and like certain things are urgent, other things are not so much, and you know what, some things will just have to get taken care of the next day. And I've learned that a lot just within my private practice, and because, as you know, everyone just is constantly coming to you for something, and patients, staff, like everybody, and then you go home as a parent and you're like, everyone wants more of you.
That reminds me of I think it's a t-shirt. I think my dad actually might have this t-shirt. It's like breaking down there's two columns, and it's like what the kids ask mom. It's like, where's this, where's that, where's this, where's that? And on the other side is like, what do they ask dad? And it's like, where's mom? That's the only question they ask. So dad life is definitely a lot easier than mom life, that's for sure. And I see that with my own kids. They're little, and I still get it's like, Dada, yes baby, where's mom? You're only 2, I can help you.
That's pretty funny.
It's awesome. Jen, I've been posting obviously about being here on my stories, and I've been posting some pictures of you and I, and interacting with other people. And I've had a lot of people back home, and other people messaging me like, oh, I love Jen, I love Dr. Jen. Talk to the people, tell them, a little bit something about yourself, and then like students, especially, like what advice would you have for students or new grads who are coming up? So, because you said you've been practicing for a little while.
Yeah.
What kind of advice would you share with either a student or somebody recently graduated?
Actually, I just answered this question. Someone sent me a message online, and they were a new student, first year, and my advice to her was, partake in all the, activities, do as much as you can there. The community within optometry school is pretty amazing, like your class, because it's a small group. You all are going through the same thing. You all are kind of navigating this new world, and form those study groups. Those study groups are amazing. Like, you should do that. I probably wasn't as good about that when I was in school, so I tried to do it all myself. And it just, you quickly become overwhelmed. So, I guess, I don't know if that's what you're looking for.
No,
but
that's good from the student perspective. How about from a new grad perspective, an actual doctor?
Oh, no one's asked me that in a while. This profession's kind of amazing. It is amazing. I mean, there's a lot of different areas you can go into, practice modalities. I feel like there's so much potential with myopia management, dry eye, primary eye care. We've got a lot of different facets to our kind of what we can do, which is pretty, so just to remember that and figure out your groove. And it's okay if you need to, when I graduated, I'm like, I'm just going to work as much as I can. And I was at 3 different places, different modalities, a little bit different styles of management, and it was really, it was really helpful in figuring out, okay, where do I want to be, and what kind of modality do I want to practice in? Like, how do I want that? How do I want to like unfold all that, you know, for the next 5, 10, 20 years? So yeah, take those opportunities, you know, be exposed to those, you know, working modalities, and I think it's good.
I think that's excellent advice. A lot of times I hear from new grads or students like, I want to do this. Like I'm hearing from students messaging me like, I really want to specialize in this. It's great if you want to do that, but like it's also a good idea to dabble in a few things just to make sure you know, and then you can kind of pursue that. Yeah, we have our whole life, and maybe that's a little bit more of my perspective, or you know, I'm like, you know, I just want to make sure I'm in the right place where I need to be, that like where I'm happy and it makes sense with my family, and you know, it's okay if it takes a little time to get there. Figure things out and test the waters. And I think that's the takeaway there from also what you were saying earlier, is like, just let it happen. It's okay. Go with the flow a little bit. I think a lot of times we get caught up with following a certain track or path. Yeah, you've got to do this and this and this because everyone else is, and it's like, well, figure out how that works with you, because you're going to be a better version of yourself. Yeah. You know, once you Thank you. Anything else you'd like to share before we wrap up? No, I mean, this is a fantastic event. I mean, it's so exciting, and if you haven't had a chance, anyone hasn't had a chance to come to Vision Expo East, you've got to. So you got to do it. Yeah. I know. This is my first time at East. I've been to West a few times. Me too. And this is a whole different animal. It's amazing. It's huge. It's so much fun. I get to meet amazing people. Yeah. And I will say, you know, I don't know if other people wonder this, but because for 2 years we're like not seeing people, we meet everybody online and make new friends. And sometimes I wonder, I'm like, is that just the way they are, you know, virtually, or how are they in person? And I want to say that you're authentically, genuinely the same person, which is a good thing, because you're such a fun, like, kind person online, and you're exactly that in person. So anybody who gets a chance to meet Jenn, make sure you do. She's lovely. But thank you for doing this, Jenn. Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. So this is fun. So my pleasure. Awesome. All right, guys, what's up? We're back at Vision Expo East, and I have my good friend, Dr. Justin Manning here. I've been trying to get Justin on the podcast for a little while, scheduling conflicts and whatnot, but finally he's here. He's a master in people management, business management, growing and consulting with businesses. And so we're going to touch on that a little bit, and then I'm going to have you back to go in real deep on those topics another time. But Dr. Justin Manning is the Chief Member Experience Officer at PECA. And he's a lot more than that. So Justin, will you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then tell us what PECA is too?
Although you're being very generous by saying a master at anything. So way too generous there. As Arbier said, I work with PECA. We're the largest alliance group serving 12,000 independent ECPs across the country.
Did you say 12,000?
12,000. Close to 8,000 businesses. Wow. 12,000 eye care professionals. So yeah,
that's a lot of people, man.
It's a lot of fun. I got my start obviously grew up in the profession. My father's private practice optometrist. I got a younger brother who's an OD in practice as well. Oh, no way. I was a little bit of the black sheep to go the industry route. But was in a number of different private practices during my career, built a specialty contact lens practice, helped grow the medical side, clinical side of a number of private practices, and then made the leap over to the industry side of things. And
amazing, man.
It's been a good ride.
Where did you go to school?
Went to school at Ohio State.
And graduated?
2013.
Okay, a few years after me. Oh, okay, so you've been practicing, or you graduated almost 10 years ago.
Yes.
And you stopped practicing completely, right? How long ago was that?
I joined the industry full-time 2.5 years ago. So
yeah, I thought that was fairly recent. Let's talk about that actually for a second. I know we didn't talk about that off air. There's a lot of conversations. I feel like I'm hearing more conversations about career paths, right? Whether to go industry or not. I don't remember hearing that kind of conversation nearly as much when I graduated in 2010. But in the last few years or so, it's like way more. You know why, or what's happening there?
That's a great question. because when I was in optometry school, I didn't either.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough to have a lot of business management education as part of the optometry curriculum. At Ohio State, I think we had 14 credit hours of business over the course of the 4 years.
We did not have that.
But the industry was something that was sort of separate as a piece of practice, but not so much from a career. We didn't really dive too much into a career path standpoint.
Right.
And what I think is perhaps driving some of that now, some of that opportunity is the industry's finally getting wise to the fact that they need more optometrists helping guide them in understanding the optometrist, in understanding.
Oh, it's fine. Yeah.
In understanding how we especially, and we serve the independents. So we focus totally on private practice optometrists, but recognizing the value that the insight and clinical knowledge and clinical training that an optometrist has, how it impacts the business success of a larger corporation, that I think there's more and more ODs moving into the industry space. It's still a very small population, don't get me wrong, but as an opportunity, it's becoming bigger because there's a lot more value in helping us work together to drive forward patient care and really drive the eye care industry forward.
It's so interesting that it's taken that long for the industry to get wise to that idea, but it makes sense. I've like great friends like yourself and Solomon and others who I'm seeing like making that shift, and I'm finding it very intriguing. Obviously, I have multiple practices that I'm taking care of, so that's not something I'm going to be doing anytime soon, but I find it very intriguing, and it's like, if I ever wanted to switch career paths down the road, I'd be very interested to see what that would look like.
Sure.
So I got guys like you to show me.
Oh, please.
Paving the way. I appreciate that. So tell me your journey. So initially, when you fully moved over to industry, that was with Healthy Eyes Alliance?
Healthy Eyes Advantage.
Sorry. And what was HEA versus what is PECA?
So within the industry, if you look at the history from an independent standpoint, small business, you own two, you know what it's like to be a small business owner. And although yours probably wouldn't be classified as small anymore with all your success.
They're small, but yeah.
But the individual businesses don't always have the size and power and scale to go and negotiate better deals, better discounts for their practice. And we're talking cost of goods. So frames, contact lenses, ophthalmic lenses, and business services and more. So version 1 in the 80s were buying groups. So doctors started purchasing together with a buying group. That buying group, because of the volume, could now go and negotiate discounts with other vendors. And they put a whole bunch of vendors into one bucket, and you could then purchase at the negotiated deals.
Yeah.
But that was about it. It was very transactional. And then on top of that, you could take all of those individual bills and put them into a single bill and pay one company. So it did it still does streamline your practice significantly, especially at the end of every single month, from a operation standpoint. Version 2.0 were the alliances, community, business management services, consulting, a lot of connection, annual meetings, doctors getting together with other doctors, sharing ideas. And they had really very strong vendor programs with a select few vendors. So what we did is, and Healthy Eyes Advantage was a big conglomeration of, not big, we had 4 individual buying groups that we put together to form, at the time, the biggest buying group.
Oh, I see.
We then brought PECA into the mix, rebranded to PECA, to bring the best of alliances as well as the best of buying groups together into a single membership, so people didn't have to go and search for other deals or discounts in other organizations. They got everything they needed in a single, very cost-effective membership.
Wow. All right. That's huge. 12,000 optometrists?
Yeah.
That's an insane number.
We serve ophthalmology and opticians as well.
ECPs,
so 12,000 ECPs.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't even know. I don't think there's 12,000 ECPs in Canada. You guys have them all under one roof. And so tell me, your chief member experience officer, tell me what that means.
So for us, the way that my team and I, the way that we look at member experiences, it's twofold. As a membership organization, we want our members to have a fantastic experience as a member, from how they access all the services that we provide to help them grow and build their practices and their businesses. So we do education, we have a cold start program, we have an in-house consulting team, all of those fall into member experience. But from a bigger picture, member experience is really, what are our members' experience? What does that look like in their own business as a business owner and as a private practice ECP? So we want them to enjoy their practice as much as possible. It's hard work. You know it better than anybody. There's a lot of ups, there's a lot of downs, there's a lot of success and opportunity, but there's a lot of work and challenges that you face on a day-to-day basis. We want to be that partner to make your life as easy and fun as possible as an owner, so you can enjoy business success and still love to take care of patients, because that's who we as optometrists serve. And then as a doctor-driven organization, the members that we serve. So member experience is twofold, both as a member of the organization, but really more importantly, as a business owner within their own business and their own practice.
It's a lot for you to oversee, man. So that's a big job.
I'm very fortunate to have a rock star team of people who make it look easy.
That's amazing.
And they're awesome.
Amazing. And we were talking about within the realm of business management, you felt like your specialty or thing that you're comfortable with is people management specifically. It makes sense when you're member experience, chief of member experience. Tell me in your mind kind of the few things, high level or whatever level you want to go into, that are key for I'm a business owner. What do I need to do to make sure I'm managing and taking care of my people the best?
So we talked earlier about business and business management education and whether you got a lot or a little in optometry school. And I think across the board, one thing that we really don't get much of at all is understanding the intricacies of leadership and how to manage people well. And as optometrists, we're in practice seeing patients nonstop. Trying to manage people while also taking care of patients all day long is that much more difficult. And people are dynamic. We all have needs, we all have motivations, we all have things that drive us, and recognizing what those pieces are can make or break, and how you communicate, how you deliver feedback, what your people in your practice want is so critical to the success of the practice, but we don't talk about it, in my opinion, enough.
Not nearly enough,
The way that I look at culture within a practice, the way I look at people management, is I think there's three key pillars to a good practice culture. One is vision, the second is empathy, and then the third is accountability. And I see a lot of practices that maybe have one, maybe have two, but very few have all three. And I believe that if you only have one or two, you have to have that third to really stand up well. So to go into those, vision, people want to connect the day-to-day role of their job with how it has a bigger impact in the community, on the people that they serve. Where's the business going? And what's the vision that you as a business owner have for your practice? Where's it 5 years from now? Where's it 10 years from now? How is it perhaps, and maybe this is a little bit too big picture, but how's it impacting the world for the better? And so if they can connect their role, their day-to-day with that vision, and you're reiterating, you have to reiterate that vision every single day. I'm a believer that you cannot over-communicate what the vision of the practice is and where we're doing it, where we're going and why we're doing it and why their job is so important to that. The second piece of that is empathy. We all have life. We all have things that drive us. Empathy is not sympathy, to be very upfront and clear, but empathy is understanding. It's communication. It's recognizing when you're having a good day. It's when you're recognizing you're having a bad day. It's the fact that as much as we want to separate life from work, we can't. We're human beings. Again, we all have needs. We all have motivations. We all have desires. We all have challenges. We're not all going to have a great day 100% of the time when we come to work. So recognizing how those dynamics play in, and just having that ability to communicate and understand where your team members are coming from.
I feel like that's like emotional intelligence, right? EQ seems to be like a really important factor these days. I feel like that topic is coming up so much more in the last 5 years or 10 years maybe. Previously it was sort of like, I'm the boss, you're an employee, like just go do your work. But now it's like so important for us to really get on the same page.
It's true, and there's so many studies that show. I mean, you look at it from a patient care standpoint. Doctors who score higher from an empathy standpoint have more empowered patients. Patients who, feel more in charge of their own healthcare, who want to come back for care. They have better health outcomes.
Right.
A really interesting statistic is doctors with high levels of empathy. Patients with colds, the common cold, they resolve faster when their doctor has higher levels of empathy.
What?
It's crazy. But it makes sense. People want to know that they're of value and that you as a doctor care about them as a patient. But your employees, your team members want to know that you as the boss, you as the owner, care about them and their success. And you'll make concessions when it's appropriate. But more than anything, they want to feel understood by you.
Wow, what a crazy result from that study. So vision, empathy, accountability.
And accountability. So where I see practices go wrong is they either overdo empathy or they overdo accountability and they don't have the opposite. So empathy, again, that understanding, that ability to communicate, recognizing you at a human level, what your needs are, what your desires are, what motivates you. The accountability is you got to do your job. Like, you have responsibilities. Your front desk, your technician, your optician, you as the doctor, you have responsibilities. And there's a good way of doing things. There's a better way of doing things. Yeah. There's the way that you have structured as part of your own operating procedures that they have to participate and they have to do. So the accountability piece is providing feedback, both critical, and I wouldn't even call critical, more constructive, developmental,
right. Yeah.
and the praise. And the Harvard Business Review says that you need to have at least 4 praises per developmental or constructive feedback.
Okay. Well, that's a good ratio.
Ratio is
4, say it again one more time.
4 positive
feedback.
Praises.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job. And it has to be specific. It's not, Harbir, you're doing a great job. No, it's, Harbir, you're a rock star doctor because I saw you doing these things with your patients today, and that was awesome. That lives, and then if you can connect it back to the vision, that's even better. That's helping us accomplish our vision because of how you're taking care of patients.
Amazing. Okay, so 4 of those praises.
For 1 developmental.
Got you.
I was on the street yesterday after the ODs on Facebook party, and I happened to just be over here.
On the street?
No,
it was not a crazy party?
It was a crazy party, but I was not on the street that way. No, I was waiting for my Uber, and I heard these 2 individuals talking, and one person, they were talking about work, and she just made the comment, I know that I'll never get feedback from their supervisors, their boss. Wow. People, I think we get afraid of delivering feedback because it's a very vulnerable position for us as somebody giving the feedback, and it's just as vulnerable for somebody receiving feedback, especially if it's, hey, I noticed you were doing this. This isn't how it's done. Here's the way to do it better, which is actually a pretty good process for delivering feedback. You separate the person from the action. You talk about the action. You communicate how that action's not in line with the process, the vision, the works, and then you provide, here's the way that it should be done, and then you follow up with that, and you check in, and you provide that feedback. But I think the key piece though is people want to know, are they doing a good job?
Right.
Or if they're not doing a good job, they want to know it, and they want to know how they can do it better. So that's that accountability piece. You have metrics that you want to hit every month from a business standpoint. It's okay to share those, and it's okay to measure where each team member and their role is up against the metrics you set. Right. They want to have that scoreboard to know whether or not they're doing a good job. So I think if you have all 3, you can really create an amazing culture where people want to be.
I love that, man. Thank you. Talk about, that's a lot we just packed into a short conversation. Those 3 pillars of building a strong culture in your business: vision, empathy, and accountability. That's huge. I think that's a lot of insight for people to take away from this quick convo, man. I appreciate that.
So. No, absolutely.
Anything else you want to quickly share before we wrap up?
No, I just appreciate the opportunity to chat with you and your audience. It's a privilege and an honor, man.
Thanks, brother. I
love what you're doing.
Thank you, man. I'm going to have you back on for a longer episode, that's for sure. What's up, guys? We're back here at Vision Expo, and I have the one and only Dr. Ina Lazar. I'm so excited to have her. I know you all know who she is. But beside being the social media personality that she is, she's also a business owner of Greenwich Eye Care in Connecticut. She's a mother. She's an advocate. She's doing all sorts of cool things, and we're going to take 10 minutes to just learn a little bit more about Ina here. So Ina, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for such kind introduction. It's like, who is this person? Oh, that's me. I'm kidding.
Yes. Well, I know it is a little weird when someone says all these nice things in an introduction. He's like, I haven't really heard it said all at once like that. And that wasn't even all of it. That was just a really short
And it's like, I'm so not used to hearing that it's all new to me. So I am cringing a little bit here, but thank you so much.
We all know that you're doing wonderful things, and I appreciate it, because it's not just for likes on social media. You're doing things, like we're going to talk a little bit about, to educate the public. You're doing things to move the profession forward. We want to talk about those things. But first, I want to address the situation here. If you're watching this on video, we are sitting in this little hut, this little booth.
We should have like a little bistro lunch here.
Yeah.
We should.
Yeah. We're sitting in this little booth that's hosted by Luminous, this little OptiLight booth, a little advertisement for Luminous here. But it's cool because it's kind of soundproof. The other interviews I've done over the last couple of days have been in like really noisy environments, so people are actually going to hear what we have to say, especially you. So if you're listening, you can go on YouTube and watch these videos. If you're watching on YouTube and you want to listen while you drive or something, you can go to Apple, Spotify, all the usual places. But let's talk to Ina. Ina, let's talk about the education thing. I thought that was really important. Tell me about the importance of educating the public. What are you seeing? What's the need right now?
Well, I think optometry is a very young profession, and I think we as a whole, as eye care professionals, need to do a better job educating the public who we are and what we do, because how often do I have a conversation on Instagram, or who is this? Like, what's OD? What does optometry do?
Right.
And then we have to go into this whole discussion how we are a primary eye care providers. We don't do surgery, but we are diagnosing and treating ocular diseases, as well as providing care for visual needs like glasses and refraction. Yeah. And some offices even sell glasses. Do you sell glasses at your office?
We do.
See, I don't.
Oh, no way.
Because I wanted to really concentrate on medical and really just putting all my forces and learning the business, the medical portion of it. And my main goal was to create a dry eye clinic and myopia management.
Wow, that's amazing. I didn't realize you didn't have an optical, because obviously for optometry, for the longest time, that's sort of like the keystone, that's sort of like the bread and butter, is like, okay, here's your prescription, now you're going to go sell glasses. But the really important thing, I think the transition that we need to make is, let's go over to specialty care. Let's find a way to differentiate ourselves from all the other opticals and all the other places you can buy glasses, including online, right? And so that's cool that you just focused only on that. So for the people out there who think it can't be done, because there's so many people who think, I can't just open a specialty dry eye clinic or a specialty contact lens clinic or whatever, but obviously it can be done, and it can be done well. Yeah. Tell me some tips, if you wouldn't mind, share some tips with us about how we could, whether you're somebody starting cold or someone like me who has a practice, wants to integrate a specialty, any keys that you might want to share on kind of high level?
You know what, it's very, number one, it's very hard to integrate a specialty in already busy practice. You do actually need to have passion for it in order to create this space to see patients, because, for example, when I graduated, I started working at a very busy practice, and I knew I wanted to do something with dry eye and myopia, and we very quickly realized there is no time. So, and the owners of the practice, they were not motivated enough to create this, time for me to educate the patients, to invest in the equipment. So that's why I do find that it's difficult. So, but if you want to do it, I think it's definitely worth it. Yeah. It is really worth it. The patients are going to love it, and it's going to be very rewarding for the doctor, financially and emotionally. I'm here for the emotions only.
Finances are okay too.
It's okay, but
an additional bonus benefit.
But listen, if you have this dry eye patient in your chair, they are not able to do their job because of the redness and painful eyeballs, and then you treat them and they come back and they hug you and they love you so much, you just changed their life.
Yeah. I will
Emotions.
say, so somebody, when I was trying to get into the dry eye realm, one of my kind of mentors or colleagues that I look up to in the space, he was like, these patients are going to be the most loyal. They're going to be the ones that are most likely to hug you when you're done. Yes. And that's, wouldn't we want that? Do we want our patients to hug us? They're so happy with what, and the that's what happens when you treat something that they think is untreatable, incurable, and you fix it for them, like in dry eye in this case.
Exactly, because so far what they were doing is artificial tears.
Yeah.
So that's why I think for new practice, it's very easy. You just make an investment, you create time, you have enough time to spend with the patient for education. But when it's a running practice, I think you should be able to create time. Just make it happen. Just
it starts with that passion part, though,
it's
right?
Passion.
Because if you don't love it,
yeah,
because if you don't love it, you won't make the time. But that's amazing. So thank you for that insight. Let's talk a little bit about your social media, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
We could talk about this all day, but I wanted to make sure people see like the full version of Dr. Lazar, right? But you've created an incredible platform and for you to reach so many people. How has that been? Because it's growing quickly, right? It's growing, continuing to grow. You're a bit of a celebrity, right?
I don't think so.
How
Definitely not.
Well, either way, I'm sure you have lots of people reaching out to you and connecting with you. How does that feel? How's that been for you over the last couple of years as you've built this channel of yours?
You know what? The reason I started doing it, I started really investing my time during the pandemic because I had all this extra time. And then I realized we need to educate people in terms of eyeballs. I don't see many doctors going out there and creating these educational quick videos on what is an eye, what is this, what do we do with that, how do you treat the allergies or things like that, like a quick home remedy. Because we see dermatologists do it, emergency doctor do it. Why are we not doing it? I know there was Dr. Carly Rose is on TikTok. She's incredible. Everyone should go and follow her.
Yes.
I follow her on TikTok.
Hey, Carly, you're doing a great job.
We love you, Carly. But then I didn't even have TikTok, so I was only doing Instagram. So I started like, listen, I'm just gonna do this, see if it goes, and I know it's gonna be good for business. So I wasn't planning on going bigger. I was just trying to stay in my hometown. I'm not doing it, and I just wanted to talk about dry eye, talk about myopia. Initially,
You wanted to reach just your demographic.
Exactly. And then it seems like that people love the education. They love the quick tips. Oh, how to do this or how to stop the myopia progression.
Right.
And then it kind of like grew and more people started following because they're almost like hungry for information. For good information.
Yes.
There's so much misinformation out there that even I sometimes get caught up in that. But yeah, it's really, if you do it, you gotta do it right, and you have to put out good information.
Yeah, I think that's like the hardest thing these days is separating good sources of information from not so good sources. Thankfully, there are people like yourself that people
and
know.
yourself.
Thank you. I hope that people, can trust us enough that if we put something out there, they know immediately is without question it's good information, and you can rely on that. So it's nice to have resources like that. So let's talk about, if you wouldn't mind sharing a couple of tips or tricks, then some things that you've done that you feel like have consistently helped you kind of build your channel. If there's someone out there who wants to do that for themselves,
Well,
piece of advice.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you are a business owner, you should do it.
Yes.
I just think you should do it. You're able to do the sponsored. I don't do it because my posts mostly reels, and reels you cannot sponsor. At least where I'm at, you can't sponsor them. But I know you can sponsor like posts. So it's just good for your business to be able to do that and sponsor it in your area. But what I found is reels do the best. Reels do incredible. But it's also, you have to have good, quick information. It's like my friend, she's a chef, and she was trying to make these reels, and she messages me, it's like, listen, everything I make, it just doesn't take off. I'm like, well, first of all, you have less than 7 seconds. You have to do a good job to fit all the information in under 7 seconds.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And you have to make sure your video is hopefully trendy, like the sound is trending. So, and good lighting. So it's like under 7 seconds, good lighting, great information, and trending sound.
Well, those are important tips right there anyways.
Yeah.
I think that's huge. And like you said, reels seem to be like where the algorithm seems to want, and 7 seconds is crazy.
Less than 7 seconds.
Less than 7. I've been making my 30-second eye doc, and some of them do okay, but 30 seconds sounds like an eternity compared to less than 7 seconds. That's crazy.
It has to be less than 7 seconds. Those are the videos that have done the best, at least on my account. But and then she just recently reached out to me. She's like, "Oh my gosh, what you told me absolutely works."
There you go.
And she even gained extra followers, so she was really excited.
Yeah.
But really, that's what I found that works the best. But good lighting and good information is really key, because TikTok, they actually prefer you to speak.
Oh, interesting.
TikTok is not like Instagram.
Oh, so I should be on TikTok with the 30-second eye dot because
Yes.
I'm talking.
Yes.
Whereas the reels are more like the acting, and there's like the sound, like trending audio, and then the little
and information.
word bubbles, the information popping up.
So I don't know what else. Yeah, you definitely should do the TikTok, because the TikTok does not take off for me. But I'm also not investing a lot of time into it. I'm just like,
I find that so interesting that like you've done so well on Instagram, but I thought it automatically would translate to TikTok, but I guess it doesn't.
No.
Different algorithms or whatever.
I don't understand, but I know a lot of doctors who are doing such an amazing job on TikTok, and Instagram is a completely different story for them, and vice versa. Like I'm trying to transfer my videos, but I'm also not passionate about TikTok.
Yeah.
Listen, I have a life to live. Okay.
Come on, Ina, you should be only focusing on social media.
No,
don't worry about anything else.
I know, right? But no, it's definitely an extra. I absolutely enjoy making these videos. And I have patients that are coming to me, and they're driving from New York to see me for dry eye because they saw make me an educational video.
Amazing.
So it pays off. Like this time pays off.
See, I like this. I like this aspect of it. So again, because I was talking to Jenn Weidman just earlier as part of this little collaboration of podcasts here, and we're saying the same thing. It's like I think a lot of times when people see it from outside, it's like, oh, they're just wasting time on social media, but from a business perspective, I tell other colleagues this all the time, there is a lot of value. If it's done consistently, it can bring people into your office. That's ultimately what we want. We want to help more people. And when you do the social media thing on a regular basis, I have people coming into my, and I don't have as big of an audience as you do, but I still have people coming in from other cities because they saw me on Instagram. Yeah. It's worth it. Get comfortable with doing it to some degree, a little bit at least, it'll be worthwhile.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So let's close up. Any more information, anything else you'd like to share? Any last words of wisdom with the audience, maybe for new grads or young students, anything that you want to share with them?
I just wish everyone did whatever they do with passion, because it does translate. Your patients are going to see it, your audience, they're going to see it if you do it on social media. I think passion is so important.
Amazing. I think that's excellent. That's excellent last words of advice.
Thank you.
Ina, thank you so much. I'm going to have you back on for like a proper long episode at some point.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Come on. You did so amazing. I feel like we could have talked for an hour here, but it's just 10, 12 minutes.
No, that's good. It's perfect. I like that.
Let's have you back on again at some point. But thank you so much for doing this. I know you're crazy busy with everything going on here. We'll see you guys real soon. Thanks. I'll see you again.
Thank you.
All right. So there it is. Those are the 4 amazing interviews I had the good fortune to do while I was there at Vision Expo East in New York. Dr. Alan Glazier, Dr. Jenn Weidman, Dr. Justin Manning, and Dr. Ina Lazar. Make sure you take a screenshot, post it up on Instagram, tag each of us, let us all know what you took away. I know each of my guests would love to connect with you. All these amazing people, they love to connect and engage with their audience. So make sure you do that. And of course, thank you again for all the support. Everybody commenting, reviewing, everything that you're doing has really helped to support the podcast. Stay tuned. There's a lot more bigger and better and more fun things coming for the 2020 podcast, Canada's #1 optometry podcast. I will see you guys again very soon.